order the special meeting of February 4th. Please stand for Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Allen.
Here.
Darnell. DePalma.
Here.
Cordella.
Here.
Marshall.
Here.
Rumble.
Here.
Thurman.
Here. This time we need to approve the agenda. Would someone like to make a motion to approve the agenda
So moved.
as presented?
Who said that?
Bob.
Marshall.
You were looking that way.
I was throwing my voice.
Second.
It was the ventriloquism. then.
Second.
Jason, did you second?
Chris did.
Chris did? Okay.
It's echoey in here tonight, apparently.
All right, I have a motion by trustee Marshall and a seconded by trustee Cordella to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Agenda has been approved. The first item on our agenda is a closed session to consult with attorneys regarding trial or settlement strategy in connection with the pending case of Flat Rock Manor Incorporated versus Charter Township of Brandon.
Listen,
So we need a motion to move to closed session.
I'll make the motion to move to closed session.
Who would like a second?
Second.
I have a motion by Clerk Allen, and it is seconded by trustee Cordella to move to closed session. And there's no discussion. We will have a roll call, please.
Cordella.
Yes.
Marshall.
yes.
Rumble.
Yes.
Allen.
Yes.
DePalma. Yes. Thurman.
Yes, motion carries unanimously, so we'll move to closed session.
This all goes here.
My consent. Hey, I think I got it back.
It's like, yeah, you're in there.
I was the one that seconded the motion, you know, it's like, wait a minute.
Meeting.
So moved.
Support.
Okay, I have a motion by trustee DePalma to reconvene our meeting, and it is supported by trustee Rumble. And we have to do a roll call for that.
Marshall.
Yes.
Rumble.
Yes.
Allen.
Yes.
DePalma.
Yes.
Cordella.
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes, motion carries unanimously. So at this time, we need to approve the closed session minutes as read in closed session. Who would like to make that motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Marshall, and it is second by trustee Cordella to approve the closed session minutes as read in closed session. We'll go ahead and do a roll call on that, too.
Rumble.
Yes.
Allen.
Yes.
DePalma.
Yes.
Cordella.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes, motion carries unanimously. So we do have an action item next, and that would be to authorize the attorney to pursue litigation as recommended. Would someone like to make that motion?
So moved.
Support.
Okay, again, the motion is to authorize the attorney to pursue litigation as recommended. And that motion is made by trustee Marshall, and it is seconded by trustee DePalma. Good. Okay, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Allen.
Yes.
DePalma.
Yes.
Cordella.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Rumble.
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes, motion carries unanimously. So at this point in our meeting, we will take citizens' comments. So if there's anybody that would like to make a comment, we have to
On
have
something you
citizens'
don't know
comments in
anything
any open meeting. Okay, seeing no comments at this time, we need a motion to adjourn our meeting.
So moved.
Support.
I have a motion by trustee DePalma, and it is seconded by trustee Rumble to adjourn the special meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Meeting's adjourned. Meeting of February 4th, please stand for Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Allen,
Here.
Darnell, DePalma,
Here.
Cordella,
Here.
Marshall,
Here.
Rumble,
Here.
Thurman.
Here. Okay, at this time, we need to approve the agenda for our regular meeting. I don't believe there's any changes, or no one's brought any to my attention. So it's a
Did you say this was a change to the agenda? This extra sheet you added? Okay.
It's just a change to the contents in the.
Oh, okay,
in the
all right,
packet.
okay.
I'll make a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
That was a
Okay.
tie.
Yeah, whatever.
Close enough.
Give it to whoever said.
Bob, you said the right word. Do we want?
Yeah.
Want a second? I think it was over here.
It wasn't me, but
It was Cordella.
I'll say
Oh, it was
it.
Chris?
Yes.
I heard something over here while I was hearing
I
something
know.
over here.
I think it was a tie, it doesn't matter.
We'll go with, Chris, you're going to be seconding.
Okay, fine. Do we get paid extra for the more we second? I mean, I suppose more often.
No, but I like how everybody's trying to get this meeting going. And
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff out here.
All right, I have a motion by Clerk Allen, and it is seconded by Trustee Cordella to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. The agenda has been approved unanimously. And so now we can move on to our reports. Our treasurer is absent this evening, so she supplied us with her normal treasury report. We also have a general ledger report, a designated report, a reconciliation report, and a building department report showing that as of February, or no, as of December. Get to it. I usually say what the new home starts were.
Two.
Oh,
2 for the month.
I was looking at 17 and 18. So in 18, we had 34 compared to 55 in 2017. But if we have 2 starts, oh, we had 2 in December
Correct.
to add to the total. Okay. Next is our recreation report, and our Parks and Recreation Director is here if you'd like to speak to his report.
Before I answer any questions, I attended M-Parks conference last week, left Tuesday night, almost turned around, came back. The roads and everything were really bad, but it cleared up a little enough to get there by 8:30 in the evening. So I registered Wednesday morning. Some of the things I did real quick, I won't get into a lot of detail, but 3 DNR classes, grant writing. We're going to be working on our 5-year master plan sometime this year, so we can cement it this year, and it's good for another 5 years starting 2020. Also, attended a class from the DNR procedures once you receive a grant. I've attended this before, but it's always good just to keep your memory banks going. And I also attended, not the DNR, but it was a guy that was out of Texas, hosted a class. And basically, it was project management referring to grants. So we have quite a big project coming forward. We'll be putting over $500,000 in that park. And I got to be on top of things. And there were some things that I took notes of that I'm going to share with the HRC, our engineers, to make sure that we're covered. And one of them is, of course, probably everybody knows, it's natural disasters. If they get all this grade work done and then we get a monsoon rain and they wreck the grade, he's had situations where the contractors come back to you and say, hey, that's going to cost you another $25,000. So we got to make sure we're covered in that kind of area. Had a surprise visit today by a state inspector. He says he wanted to go look at the lift station. So 9 years in a row we passed. So we went through all the details. And a lot of that credit goes to Arnie Kottman. He's been my operator and mechanic, maintenance guy. Speaking of operators, we had 7 applications for a new operator because Arnie's done. He still will help with the maintenance. And did the interviews, and I came up with a guy named Robert Carter. He started his first day under the training of Arnie, and they did really well. I visited this site about 3:30 in the afternoon and helped them shut it down. And we had, at that time, there was about 45 fun-loving kids having a good time. Everything's starting to turn to ice, slush, and then again returned Sunday, and it was just wasn't going to happen. There was a little strip, but so hopefully we'll get more snow this year. And last, other than what's on the report, is the last 2 Saturdays during the morning, I attended our Jet Basketball League that plays over Lake Fenton. We have 4 teams in the league, 5th grade, 2 5th grade, a 6th grade, and a 4th grade. And they got victories the first Saturday, the second Saturday, they didn't. It was a good game, though. So I made some notes that I wanted to share with some of the coaches at that time that I observed. And other than that, if there's any questions, I can answer them.
Does anyone have any questions? Dana?
When will the sledding hill be open now that you have a new operator? When is the hours going to be?
9 to 5.
On Saturdays and Sundays
Saturday,
only?
Sunday. Robert said he will work if there's a school closing. If I
Okay.
call him, he said he will work.
If there's snow.
Yeah,
If
there's
it's not
snow.
ice
Now we
closing.
need snow. And it's about not going to snow all week. This is the first year for this. I had to have the park plowed one time, and that did it for the same price our past contractor did it for, and that's all we got going right now.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
Any
you.
other questions for the Parks and Rec Director?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, next we have the Sheriff's Annual Report, and Lieutenant Glover is here to speak to that.
This is the year-end report for 2018. During 2018, we've continued to see a significant increase in dispatch calls. This year, we responded to 7,523 dispatch calls. That's with the township and the village combined. That's a 559 dispatch calls increase from last year. Last year, we had 6,964 calls. We're averaging between 20, 21 calls a day, 144 calls a week. Since 2014, we've had a 34% increase in dispatch calls, which is quite significant since 2014. If you look at the numbers for Brandon Township, just for the township alone, we had 6,336 calls. The village was 1,187. That number's a little bit skewed because of where our substation is located. And what I mean by that is anytime somebody comes to the substation for a report, it automatically registers to the village. So which is why that's always going to be higher. As far as traffic enforcement, deputies this year wrote 2,350 traffic citations. Last year was 2,005, difference of 345 tickets. I listed the violations by category, and moving violations, of course, is the highest. We also wrote 98 appearance tickets, and those appearance tickets is something that we can write for a criminal offense and release them, or we can write them that and under like a township ordinance and still lodge them. A lot of times we write those appearance tickets in lieu of lodging somebody, and those range from anything from trespassing to disorderly person to domestic violence and some drunk driving. And OUIN cases. Again, that gives us the option of whether we lodge somebody or release the person with the citation. Worth noting was we arrested 23 drivers for operating under the influence of alcohol and/or drugs in the township. 2016, we arrested 17. 2015, we arrested 40 for the same thing. So we're seeing a pretty significant decrease in that. I think it's pretty well known in the township that if you drink and drive here and you get called, there's a high probability you're going to be arrested, which is why I think that's continually showing that decrease. In addition to the regular traffic enforcement, we responded to 333 traffic-related crashes. That number is a little bit higher from last year, in which we had 311. Our narcotics enforcement team conducted 3 investigations in the township this year, executed 3 search warrants, and made 4 arrests. Our school liaison continues to still be busy. We were able to utilize the school liaison officer this year to help alleviate some of the cost of hiring overtime. On days and afternoons when he's not in the schools, if I can keep from hiring overtime, I plunk him into that position. He wears a couple of different hats. We were able to save approximately $5,500 in overtime by utilizing him for that. The school liaison caseload, anytime that these schools call for us for anything, and that happens kind of around the clock, last year we were involved in 454 incidents amongst all of the schools, with 71 of those being just investigations in the school system. That's pretty significant because every one of those investigations involving the schools almost always take us out of the township, involving forensic interviews of young kids, interviews that we don't normally do, such as in sex crimes, those type of cases. Last year, we were a little bit higher than that, not a lot. It was very close. And of course, the high school has the highest amount in the middle school. But you can see the difference between the high school. We had 279 incidents, the middle school 79. That's the high school, even up through today, seems to be our major problem. Anywhere from, I'm not so much with higher end drugs, marijuana, and the vaping with the e-cigarettes is just out of control. That's a daily event for us. Kids are smoking it in class. They're smoking it anywhere that they can. Last year we had 476 incidents, 75 of those being investigations in the schools. Our crime statistics and clearance rates, in 2018 we had 215 micro reported criminal offenses in the township. Those are incidents that the FBI and the state police monitor for safety reasons. That's kind of where they come with a lot of the community statistics for safest communities, those type of things. Out of those 215 incidents, 126 of those cases resulted in arrest of someone. 12 were exceptionally cleared, which normally means that they do not wish to pursue prosecution. With that, Brandon Township, again, had the highest clearance rate out of all of our substations, with a 64.19% on all reported offenses. That is very high compared to our other substations. The average amongst our substations is higher than most of the averages around us, with almost a 51% clearance rate. During 2017, our clearance rate was 59.3%, so it's significantly higher this year. And last year was the highest amongst our substations. In summary, our 2018 has again shown a substantial increase in dispatch calls, with the 559 call increase, and by no means is every one of those result in some form of an investigation, but anytime you have an increase in dispatch calls, there is an increase in investigations. That requires manpower, court time, things that tie us up for a lot lengthier periods of time. Since 2014, again, we've had a 1,908 dispatch calls for service increase. It's a 34% increase since 2014. Traffic accidents have shown a slight increase this past year. Out of that over 300 accidents, 87 of those accidents were Carver's deer. which there were some days, I mean, we would have 3 or 4 car deer accidents in a day. That was pretty high this year. So that was definitely on the increase. Traffic enforcement has once again shown an increase in 2018, which we believe has resulted in the continued decline in drivers driving under the influence of alcohol and/or drugs. They know we're out there. They know we're stopping cars. We've made a strong effort of being more visible not only on the main roads but also the back roads, especially in areas where we've had complaints. Just this past week, I had the Marine Division out here. We were getting a lot of complaints of snowmobilers everywhere driving like maniacs. We brought the Marine Division out. They stopped some snowmobiles, wrote some tickets. So traffic still is a major concern. We try to hit the back roads as much as possible, especially where there's areas where we have a lot of complaints. Sashaball Road and Granger still seems to be a big one for us. Granger all the time is an issue, it seems like. So we've tried to hit that more often. Again, out of our staff, I mean, there's a reason why our stats are so high as far as our clearance rates. Most of the guys out of my substation are either township residents or live in surrounding townships. So they take a little bit more pride in making arrests and closing cases where we have, crimes of, domestics and breaking and enterings, those type of things, which is one of the reasons I think that our clearance rate is so high. I mean, without the work that those guys do every day, we would never have the clearance rate that we have, especially with our manpower. It's not like we have guys, walking on top of each other out here for calls. So our detective bureau has worked very hard at closing those cases and making arrest when possible. That's all. And then when I drafted this, as far as the manpower, I put that we had 13, only because it was a 2018 year-end report. Obviously, we have an extra body in the DB that puts my former detective sergeant out on the road more. It's actually worked out very well because I've been able to use him in a couple different ways. When we're overloaded with court one day, I'm able to put him into the detective bureau. He's kind of wearing both hats. He's been on the road a lot more, usually until 7, sometimes 8 o'clock at night. It just depends on what we have going on. But it's made a nice difference because it puts us another car responding to calls on the road during our busier times, which is obviously during rush hour and any time after. Really from 3 o'clock on, our calls increase. So it's made a nice difference of having some supervision out there, which we have never had before, and it puts another car on the road. So it's huge. I mean, there are some days on afternoons if I stay over or alter my hours. I mean, there's some days where we might have up to 5, maybe 6 cars on the road on a Wednesday. And on those days, we are able to get a lot done, cover a lot wider range of territory. So it makes a big difference. If you look at those numbers, I included, I have not given this yet to the village. I did include just their numbers as well as the village and the township numbers combined. Okay?
Oh, thanks
Yep.
for your hard work.
No problem. Thank you.
Does anyone have
Please.
any questions before?
You know what,
And
I'm just curious, if we could find out, and I'm not sure, that's an incredible stat, 34% versus 2014.
Yeah,
Right,
compared, from
increase?
214. Yeah.
And calls and stuff like that. I'd just be interested in knowing what the population was in 2014 versus what it was in 2018.
And that I don't know. But I can tell you that there is a different makeup of this township when it comes to residents today. It doesn't matter. At one time, when I worked out here as a patrolman, you could almost guarantee that the southeast corner of the township is where you were going to spend all your whole day. I mean, at that time, over 70% of our calls were there. That's not the case today. Matter of fact, we've put a pretty major dent in that calls in the trailer park as far as criminal type cases over
Now
there.
it's more spread.
more spread out throughout the
So now we're
township,
getting
yeah.
more all over the township.
Yeah, and I think
So that's what's causing the increase.
that, and I think in today's age,
Sorry, population increase.
with cell phones and those things, I mean, people are a lot more apt to jump on the phone and call you when it comes to calls. Me and Chief Quapis were talking about it just before the meeting. I mean, their calls are up as well. And people, call the fire department for absolutely anything as well as us. We get a lot of calls for things that are not law enforcement related. It's
How do you deal with
nature of the beast. How do you deal with them?
Yeah.
It depends on the call.
No, I mean, if they call you and it's not law enforcement related.
If it's something that there is, I mean, very rarely do we not respond or to somebody's call if they're calling. But yeah, at times, yeah, if it's something that's a total civil matter that has nothing to do with us, and we'll give them advice over the phone and move on to the next one.
Okay.
Lieutenant, thank you, and please pass along my thanks to the officers.
I will.
Yeah, from the whole board.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. All
Outstanding job.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right, next we have a fourth quarter report from the fire department, and the fire chief is here to. Give us a short.
So you have our fourth quarter and our 2018 highlights. We were actually 7 shy from our record-setting year last year of call volume. We were down to 1316. It's still all the detail is in the report. It's still primarily 60% is medicals, and of the medicals, we have the list broken down. I know that always seems to be the question, what is other? Well, other is a category that has multiple diagnosis or multiple problems that we think the patient may have. So it doesn't really fit into one category. Okay. With that being said, Dana, you'll notice that I included, we discussed this at our joint meeting, and you wanted to see something in there regarding incident history compared to our census count. So you can see the numbers have definitely increased along with population, which we kind of figured that was going to be the end result of that. As far as department highlights, we hired 3 people, actually starting January 1st. And I just wanted to cover real quick that you'll be seeing these 3 as we go down the road here. But we hired Ed Neeson, Tom Gordon, and Colin Pierce. And it already has worked very well to our advantage. We're not having to retone for manpower constantly. Actually, we haven't had to do it at all, knock on wood. So we're doing well, and things are moving right along. So if you have any specific questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
Chief, I have a couple things. First off, I'm excited that the new station out there is finally manned.
Yes.
That's a great thing for me. Secondly, and I'm glad both you and the lieutenant are here, because I noticed in the reports that in the sheriff's report, they assisted the fire department 794 times. And yet in your report, there was not a single time you assisted the sheriff's department. Why are you guys slacking off on the job over there?
Well, we like to invite them to our party, but they don't return the favor.
Okay, all right. I was just curious why there was an inconsistency there.
Right. We appreciate their effort. They show up on calls. And I'm really glad you brought this up, because now you give me a chance to actually congratulate the Sheriff's Department and the job that they do for us as well. And they do. These guys jump right in. They'll grab a clipboard. They'll start writing down information. They help us move the patients. They do a great job.
Bet they never grab a hose, though, do they?
We actually, we've got a picture of one of them dressed up in turnout gear, so I think they want to be firemen.
Was it Halloween?
No. I tell you, there's the old joke, right? If they got one more right, they could have been a fireman. So.
Whoa.
All right, looks like we he might be starting
Oh,
something.
I should probably stop while I'm ahead.
We need to move on.
I
Chief,
feel that burn.
Drive slow home.
Chief, on your incidents, you talked about what the other was, but it also says good intent. What is good intent mean?
So a good intent call is, there's a lot of different canceled calls, basically. So sometimes what we'll do is
Go
we'll
there
get,
and you get
right, we'll get
sent
somebody
back.
driving by and go, oh, I see smoke. So they call 911. Yeah, that's what Greg and I were talking about before, Lieutenant and I. And that's exactly what's happening is, they see the smoke and they think, well, there's a house on fire. So we respond because the first time we don't, you know what's going to happen, right? We are going to end up, a little later with a house fire or something more drastic and more severe. So we respond to those calls and we have to document those calls, and that's what they end up being.
It's really someone just having a bonfire.
And sometimes they just have a bonfire, so they're sitting around a campfire. And
Right. I think part of my question was also, which I know you had said, part of my question from last year is to do like a comparison of all of this, just in your annual one of, so there was 1,316 incidences, and this is it from 18, but we're 7, or if,
Right. So in our
think was part
right
of-
in our joint packet, it shows all those previous years.
gotcha,
So I didn't do it for this.
okay.
This is
That's what I
nice
think
up.
I was asking too,
Okay.
was the comparison.
I was trying to keep it short
I
and
know,
brief.
I know, and this is nice and pretty and short and one page.
Any other questions for the fire chief? Thank you. Good job.
Thank you. Tell everybody, good job.
Yeah. We have a lot of good first responders working on our township, that's all I can say.
Yep.
Next, we have our Edna Burton Senior Center report, our CDBG report, and that brings us to our trustees report. Reports will start down with Mr. Cordella.
Okay, I want to talk about the January 22nd Planning Commission meeting. There was two main issues that were discussed. One was the Taco Bell development and a final site plan review, and also the Seymour self-storage / Cherry property. Larry Smith gave a final site plan. Happy to say that both plans were approved by the Planning Commission with exceptions that needed to be met, and the parties agreed to meet every exception that was noted either by our attorney or by, other people. So it was a huge, successful night, to say the least. And along with that, here are some renderings that you folks can pass on about the new Taco Bell law.
So here's the question, when's it opening? That's what everybody wants to know.
I want to know where my parking spot is.
Well,
That's
you
what I
know,
wanna
It's like the 5-year plan, Taco Bell.
Yeah,
right there.
no, this is.
That's
this
all I
is
get
the-
from people. When's it opening?
The interesting thing about that, and that was a good question, is they both said, we can't wait to break ground. And so they were just waiting because we were right in the middle of that deep freeze.
Right, oh yeah, it's
And
hard
so,
right now.
of
in
course,
winter.
and then, of course, they're not going to be breaking ground, this time of the year anyways. But the bottom line is, they both seemed like ready to go finally. And we were very happy with that also.
Is that the same owners that own the one that was in the gas station, or is it different,
Different.
Different?
Different.
ones, yeah.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, so it's really, they've really spruced it up according to a lot of things. They're gonna have a lot of landscaping there. They're going to match up very nicely to the bank.
It's right next door to the
Right
bank.
next to
Yeah.
Genesis, right?
It's pretty much,
Between that and the
well,
high school?
there's like a little bit of space between the two. There's, I don't know, there's some land there that I don't know what happened, or what's gonna happen to that, but, yeah, they're going to match them trees and match their pine trees and whatever.
Are they going to be sharing a driveway between the two of them?
There is gonna be a driveway between the two of them.
Okay.
yes.
So we're not going to have 4 different driveways there, that basically be one in and one out for both?
Oh, no. They'll have their own separate driveway.
Oh, will,
And there'll
okay.
also be a way that you can go from the Taco Bell property to the.
Okay, all right.
The bank property.
Right, gotcha,
Yeah,
thanks.
no, yeah, they won't be, just pulling into the bank and then coming around.
Yeah.
and-
Are they gonna be able to get to the high school too to turn, that's, I know was a
Yes.
huge issue.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
They're gonna be able to get to the high
Yep.
school to turn left then
Yeah.
at the light? Okay.
Yeah. There's a road that'll go all the way back around to, and there's gonna be a walkway also, to the walkway that comes across the street by the high school. Yeah, they've taken all that into account, which
Good
is
thinking
nice.
on their part.
Yeah, yeah,
Gotta get the high school traffic.
they were asked to do that. They've got more parking than is required, which is a plus, and they should be a huge success. I mean, both of them. I mean, the Seymour self-storage facility should be absolutely fabulous. They're doing all kinds of things, landscaping, berms, and the property should be a definite, both of them should be a definite plus. Business developments for the township. I'm excited about both of them. They both look really good. Both of the detailed plans look very, very, very good.
Okay.
And obviously, the rest of the planning commission, voted for them, so, it's good news. Good news.
All right, thank you, Chris. Trustee Marshall.
I have nothing.
Trustee DePalma.
The Parks and Rec Subcommittee met, and we met to discuss the different grants going to be going on, and the minutes are in your packet, and then also the grants will be coming up later in new business, and we discussed the status of the ball fields and stuff like that, and it's just kind of waiting on the weather.
Okay, Trustee Rumble.
Yeah, well, I was gonna talk about that stuff too, so we're good, but, just, Fred brought me up to speed since I hadn't been around for a while, but, everything's gonna break ground in spring. That was grants already paid out for. So we finally get that going with the bids going out to get that done, so looking forward to having that park done at some point, hopefully by the end of the year, you said. So, that was it.
Okay, thank you. No treasure report tonight, but we have a clerk's report.
Welcome, everybody, for coming out tonight and braving the rain and the cold. Hopefully, and I really truly hope that everybody got through the bad weather okay without loss of power, and I didn't hear of anybody losing it, so that was good. Deputy and Election Coordinator Karen MacArthur and I are going to meet our election chairs and co-chairs this Thursday night to review all the issues and suggestions they have from our last election in last November. The clerk staff is now getting ready for the pre-audit for 2018, and it starts on Valentine's Day. The program year for 2018 barrier removal CDBG project has been advertised in the newspaper, Citizen newspaper, and we're going to have a mandatory walkthrough at Brandon Stations 1 and 2 next Monday, February 11th. We have a bid deadline of February 19th, and the bid opening same day. A request for proposal will be advertised for the Brandon Township Cemetery Maintenance Contract in the next few weeks and presented to the board either the March or April meeting. The Edna Burton Senior Center kitchen is 98% completed with no end date. I'm working very hard on that. Also, our funds have been released from the county for this OSEF and BGYA to receive monies that they have spent so we can reimburse them. We are going to be purchasing an AED, which is, Dave, maybe you could help me.
External defibrillator.
External defibrillator. I so apologize. We're going to be getting that hopefully this month and get that installed. And lastly, happy Valentine's Day, and I wish Fred and Kara the best for their dances. You're welcome.
All right, thank you, Clerk Allen. For the supervisor's report tonight, the township offices were closed for half a day last week due to the snowstorm and for 1.5 days due to the frigid temperatures. And we're sorry if it caused any inconveniences for anyone. We're going to be looking at our phone system and see if we can get a message put on there for some of the folks that have called the offices and didn't get any answers, pretty much. So we're going to look into that and see if we can make that a little better. Skywarn training is going to occur again this year, and the closest classes that they offer are going to be in Groveland Township. I'll have a little bit more on that at our next meeting next month. The classes in Groveland are on April 8th. So last year, they proved to be very, very well received by those that did attend. So if anyone likes looking for tornadoes, it's right up your alley. I met with the Road Commission and Independence Township last week to discuss the problems we're having with the Oak Hill-Sashabaw intersection. And they will be designing a couple of plans to improve that intersection. And when they produce those, I'll let Bob know, and he can go with me to check those out and see how that will progress. I don't think anything's going to happen this year. There's just planning, but maybe next year we'll get a resolution to that four-way stop sign that everybody complains about. And they also let me know that they're planning to start the Sashabaw Road paving project between Sherwood and Granger Road. Their target date is sometime in June, so hopefully that will happen.
How many miles does that end up
Just 1
being?
mile.
1 mile.
1 mile.
Yep. Okay, so that completes my
1 mile more.
report. And we can move on to correspondence. Tonight for correspondence, we have the Planning Commission meeting minutes of October 23rd, 2018. We have the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting minutes of December 19th, 2018. We have Transportation Improvement Association support letters, tri-party resolution amendment, and the Parks and Recreation Subcommittee meeting minutes of January 24th, 2019. So now we'll move on to citizens' comments, and this would be on agenda items only. So during citizens' comments, we ask that you stand at the podium and direct your comments to the board. We will be happy to answer any questions at the end of the meeting. Please state your name, and although it's not required, we ask that you state the city, township, or village in which you live. Comments shall be courteous and limited to 3 minutes per speaker. And I've got a speaker waiting to get up here. So that's good.
Rick Gibbons from Sashabaw. Can I know what the two plans were that they gave you about that intersection?
They haven't given them yet.
They haven't told you at all?
No, they're in the process of coming up with something.
Okay. Thank you.
Are there any other comments on agenda items? Okay, then we will move along with our meeting since there's no one running to come up to the podium. No discussion tonight. We do have a consent agenda, and on our consent agenda, we have regular meeting minutes of January 7th, 2019. Regular bills in the amount of $11,402.30. Prepays in the amount of $129,783.52. Township benefits from payroll account of $27,387.78. Trustees' timesheets in the amount of $918. Any questions on the consent agenda?
I have a question on trustee timesheets. Should the meeting with the assessor be added then? Should I have added that to mine?
Did someone put that on?
Yeah,
I did put it on mine also.
You did?
Yeah.
Is that what your special is?
Yes.
Gotcha.
We hadn't discussed it prior to.
It was a meeting.
We always do when
When the
accountant guy
attorney,
comes in.
or when the auditor comes.
Yeah, the auditor, that's
Yep.
it.
Okay. All right, we can, yeah, go ahead and add that on then, Dana.
Should I add it to my next one, or should we add it here? I don't care, I can get
You
paid
can
for it in a
add
month.
it to this one is better, really.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want us to?
Did Chris, is yours included on there, or no?
No, mine's not.
What's your special on one? Oh, 1.7's our regular. Oh, but he's got two specials on here, 1.7 and one.
Well, that was the special closed meeting.
Those we're not including, we talked
Okay.
What was
about.
the date?
Okay, is that,
1/7.
I was a little confused as to whether or not to put that down.
Oh, to meet with the assessor.
So, we don't count those
Ours was
special
the
meetings
24th.
like the one that we had
Immediate-
tonight.
No, immediately prior, we don't
Yeah,
count.
mine was the
Okay.
same day that
Okay,
Jason's
very
was.
good.
But Chris's number wouldn't change if he
No.
met with the assessor, you just have
Right.
to change his date.
Right,
So when did he meet with
That's what
the
I'll do.
assessor?
Under special, just put a 1 in front of the 7.
Oh, he
Right.
met with the assessor with you, Bob?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yes.
his changes to 117. So his number stays the same, but mine's
Right.
gets added to 124. Okay.
I'll do that right now. And Candy, do you want those?
Six. The only reason I didn't ask about this ahead of time was because we had to talk last time about everything we were gonna do, so I wanted us to all talk about it.
So is yours at 3:06?
Tell me-
Mine should be at
Chris, does yours
3:06
change?
then.
The
Your
number
amount?
doesn't, but
Just the date? What is
yeah,
the
it's
date?
17.
Yeah, special
17?
meeting should
All
be
right.
117.
All right. But you're good with your amount?
Yeah,
I can't even read
the
Jason's.
overall amount, 204,
Adding
yeah.
102,
So we need to
so
add that on
1,020.
Yeah,
This.
1,020.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna amend the trustees' timesheets to be $1,020. Okay. Any other discussion on the consent agenda? Would someone like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended?
So moved.
Support.
That was you, Bob, right?
Yes. Sorry.
That's okay. I have a motion by trustee Marshall, and it is seconded by trustee Rumble to approve the consent agenda as amended. And if there's no further discussion, roll call, please.
Marshall,
Yes.
Rumble,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
DePalma,
Yes.
Cordella,
Yes.
Thurman,
Yes, motion carries unanimously. We have no unfinished business this evening, so we can move right into our new business. The first item of new business is the Country Oaks litigation release form. In your packet. Do you want to hand that one to? So in your packets, you have a release form, and page 2 has been amended, yeah.
Can you tell us
So
what?
there's a different page 2. The only difference
That's-
is my name was added to number 1 under the agreement.
Township of Brandon, okay,
Okay.
right before the
Right
same.
before
Everything else
Bill,
is the same.
okay.
Okay, that's just what I wanted to know.
With this
Yeah. So in,
form or settlement agreement?
so Kathy's name is added in here.
So this is, and our attorney's here if anyone has any questions about the agreement. But I have a motion that was given to me, and that would be to authorize the township supervisor Kathy Thurman to sign documents approved to the township, by the township attorney for settlement, including a release of claims and entry of consent judgment in the case of Country Oaks versus Brandon Township in Oakland County Circuit Court Case number 2017-156789-PZ. So we can go ahead and discuss this, and then we can make the motion, or if someone wants to go ahead and make that motion.
The only question I have is the number given, 9,865.50. Does that fully cover our attorney's fees? Yes. Okay.
That was from a previous case. That amount. That was something that was already settled.
Oh, all right.
that we just hadn't collected yet.
Gotcha, okay,
We
all right,
posted it
This
now.
is the same property where the storage facility's going, right?
right.
And then, but all those, things that were on the agreement are staying in place for the new owners too?
You mean the zoning agreement?
No, what are, you had that injunction where it had all those things in there that he couldn't do on that property? Do those go
That
to the
was
new owner?
Original consent
The
agenda,
consent-
and I think
Consent judgment that you guys had?
To a, yes, there's nothing that I
Yeah,
am aware of
consent.
that's going to change that, but he now has an approved use, which wasn't on that. It
I'm
wasn't-
just saying the new owner couldn't go back and start us back where we were, where this all started.
No, he can't.
Okay, all right.
And what about, since the 9,000 covered the previous fees, what about the current fees of doing all this now? Are those
There
covered?
aren't any, this is a settlement agreement. There aren't any fees which are, the first one is where we had to take him to trial.
Right.
And try the case to find that he was in violation of the judgment. And that we were successful on that, and this is the amount we asked for, but it never got paid.
Right, but what about your time into doing all this? Will that be covered by them too?
This,
or-
most of this is being done by Carol Rosati's firm, and they're being paid by the insurance company.
Okay.
So, and it's a good settlement in
It
getting
looks
rid of
like it,
a
yes.
difficult situation, so
Yep, nope.
there's some
I
cost
agree.
in that.
All right, I'll make the motion then.
Support.
I have a motion by trustee Rumble and it is seconded by trustee Marshall, and that would be to authorize the township supervisor Kathy Thurman to sign documents approved by the township attorney for settlement, including a release of claims and entry of consent judgment in the case of Country Oaks versus Brandon Township in Oakland County Circuit Court Case number 2017-156789-PZ. Any other discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Is it gonna matter? The case number on here is different than yours.
That was the initial suit. The case number is the
Okay.
same at the bottom,
All right. I just
right?
wanna
Or,
make
because
sure.
you referenced both cases in that settle, or you didn't draft it, did you?
I didn't put the
There's two
settlement-
different case numbers, but I'm assuming the first one
It
was the
says
prior
first,
case.
yeah, because it says first litigation by
Yeah.
the NZ
It's
one,
Second.
and then it says second
Okay.
litigation by the
Yeah.
PZ.
This is
All
the
right.
2017
Yep.
case. And that's the only
I just
one.
wanna make sure our minutes have the right.
Right, and
Yeah,
the
if
17
it was
is the
two.
first, the other case goes back to 11.
Wow.
A long time.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I have a motion on the floor by trustee Rumble and a second by trustee Marshall. Any other discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Rumble,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
DePalma,
Yes.
Cordella.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes, motion carries unanimously. That brings us to tobacco and vaping ordinance. And I believe, Brenda, did you have something new on the vaping ordinance?
I have the one that they want to do the first reading on.
Okay, do you want to pass it up for us?
So these are garbage.
So it changes.
And maybe you can tell us what got changed.
Yeah, otherwise that's a lot of words to compare very quickly.
Page 3,
Thank you.
item C on page 3.
Okay.
Okay, and maybe the Lieutenant Glover wants to speak to this because I believe you asked for this change.
The ordinance was brought to my attention by Pete Keenan. He brought it up to us at a kind of a really good time for it because it's been such a topic of discussion with the schools, with just about any age group from the middle school on up through the high school of the vaping. They're going to local establishments, buying the vaping and e-cigarettes, and it's just a continual issue at the school. We've kind of went back and forth on the punishment phase of that, of whether it was going to be a civil infraction or a misdemeanor. We have decided that the The one that we'd like to stick with, which Independence is adopting, Orion's looking at it, some surrounding communities. And we'd like to stay kind of uniform with those guys, those other townships. But it would be where the first infraction, if you're a minor, 17 and under, would be a civil infraction. Any subsequent infractions would be a misdemeanor if you're a minor. It's a good ordinance for us. It's something that we're having all kinds of problems with throughout the township. I mean, you don't hardly go past a car today with young kids in it, high school age or younger, where there's not vaping going on. And it's a major issue in the schools. It'll really help us as far as with the school liaison to be able to enforce that. I mean, we have kids openly doing it, that are not even old enough to purchase the stuff, smoking it in class, in the hallways. It's a daily event at the high school. So
How old do you have to be, by the way?
You have to be 18 to purchase.
Just like tobacco,
Yes,
like cigarettes.
right. And, the FDA and whatnot has said that I don't think they really know because of how new this stuff is, what the actual issues will be with it medically. But most of those, or a lot of those e-cigarette flavors that they put in are a lot higher in nicotine content than an actual cigarette. And I've heard statistics as far as, smoking one of those containers can be equivalent to almost a pack of cigarettes. So it's a big issue. It's an ordinance that would help us to enforce it. Just because we have the ordinance doesn't mean that we're out there looking to ding every minor, every high school kid. But for kids that we're dealing with on a regular basis, it would help us.
Lieutenant, do you have a program, or have you considered a program like they have for alcohol, where you have people going into places that sell it, making a purchase, and if they make a purchase to minors,
It will
going after the...
It hasn't went on. I mean, we do it a couple times a year for alcohol.
Right.
That has not come up with for the e-cigarettes and the vaping stuff. I would venture to say at some point it's going to become an issue because it's such an issue with every community around.
That might put the fear of God into some of the stores.
And I've kind of made it pretty well known to some of the gas stations and some of the areas that are selling it now of what's coming down or what we hope to be is coming down. So they're fairly aware that we will be watching it, and there'll be penalties for it. So.
I was going to say, the stores will get penalized too then if you find out.
Yes, I mean, the same as we do when we do our underage stings, which we do for any establishment, whether it's a party store or bars for selling to minors. We do it a couple times a year, so it'll be added on with that.
Yeah, and those violations are all stated.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one that Brendan handed to you, when that first came out, there were like 3 choices of different penalties for it. Some of them were a lot more harsh. I think one of them was the first offense was a misdemeanor. I don't agree with that. I don't think for minors they should be hit with a misdemeanor right off the bat. Civil infractions are something that's not going to go on their criminal record. However, after we've decided, and it came from the attorney's recommendation from Pete Keenan's, of adopting the one that's in front of you now, which would make the subsequent ones a misdemeanor for subsequent crimes.
Okay. Does anyone else have a question for Lieutenant Glover on this? Great. Would someone like to make the motion as prepared?
I will. So moved.
Suggested motion?
Support.
All right, I have a motion by Clerk Allen, and it is seconded by Trustee Marshall to introduce for first reading an amendment to the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 28, Article 8, offenses concerning underage persons, amending and replacing with new Section 28-491 to read tobacco and vapor products, which this ordinance is attached, into the Code of Ordinances, Charter Township of Brandon, Oakland County, Michigan. My tongue's getting twisted. Okay.
Just for clarification, didn't we discuss this at the last meeting? Wasn't that the first reading last meeting? This would be the second reading?
Not this
What we just, wasn't there a vaping ordinance we
I think
discussed?
there was an email that
No, there was
sent.
an email giving us information.
Oh, okay, all right.
Hey, Greg, just one
From
quick
the
kind of
school
clarification.
district.
You said that they had to be 18 to purchase it. This preamble says there is no age restriction on them purchasing it.
I believe it's
Is that not
18.
accurate?
Persons under
Yeah.
18 are prohibited.
Yeah, under 18 is prohibited from it. I'm under the understanding that you have to be 18 to purchase it. Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, Stuart knows different than I do, but I mean, that's my assumption, the way that I've understood
I
it.
don't think you can purchase it under 18. The difference in here is if you're under 17, we didn't want to have a misdemeanor there because you'd have to go over to juvenile court to enforce it.
Yeah.
So by keeping just that provision, anybody else 17 and up, second offense is going to be a misdemeanor, but under 17 is a civil infraction, and so it doesn't go to juvenile court.
Yeah, it's just the way it's worded. I read it says it may be purchased by minors, but you're just saying that they are purchasing it, but they're just not supposed to.
Correct.
Okay. I got you.
Yeah.
I read it wrong.
And we already had this ordinance section 28-491, but it was just tobacco. So all we're adding the vaping onto it, just so the citizens know that it's not a whole new ordinance. It's just adding the vaping onto the tobacco. Right?
Yes.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, so we have the motion by Clerk Allen and it's seconded by Trustee Marshall, so we'll go ahead and do a roll call, please.
Allen,
Yes.
DePalma,
Yes.
Cordella.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Rumble,
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes, motion carries unanimously. And we'll move on to the harassment ordinance. So there's no changes on this one, correct? Okay. So maybe you could just give us a brief overview of what we're
Can't,
trying to do with this.
the harassment ordinance, I mean, we currently have a harassment ordinance, but the harassment ordinance does not cover texting, anything that deals with social media. Would replace the current harassment ordinance. It'll, by having this ordinance, it'll keep us from having to go through warrant packages to the prosecutor's office, tying them up for things that they don't need to be doing. And I'll just give you an example. I mean, we've had just two recent cases of, somebody being harassed by cell phone, text. We had a local real estate agent that was having problems with someone that decided to fill his signs full of bullet holes and then drop it off at his house as a threat. Those are the type of things that instead of tying up the prosecutor's office, when we know we have a solid case, we can write that ticket as an appearance ticket or for whatever the crime is, and hand deliver it to them without having to go through the prosecutor's office, and then let it be handled at the district court. When we had the witches' night, the last witches' night, we had somebody that was heavily involved in that was being threatened by a vendor, and it was something that went on and on and on over text and phone calls. We could have easily wrote that person a ticket for the harassment as an appearance ticket and not had to go through the prosecutor's office, which tends to be lengthy, and then it ties up me having to send one of the guys out of the township to the prosecutor's office in some cases, when it would be a lot easier to deal with a ticket and deal with it at the district court. It allows us some other avenues, and it covers a lot more than just harassment. And as you know, I mean, social media is out of control. Everybody uses it, and we have a lot of threats and things that are going on with it, so that would cover that for us. And as well, the other townships surrounding us have either already adopted or are looking at that same harassment ordinance.
All right, thank you for the explanation. Any discussion or comments on this one? Would someone like to make the proposed motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, I have a motion by Trustee Marshall, and it is seconded by Trustee DePalma to introduce for first reading an amendment to the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 28, Article 3, Offense Against Persons, replacing with new Section 28-52 to read stalking and harassment misdemeanor as attached into the Code of Ordinances, Charter Township of Brandon, Oakland County, Michigan. Okay, we're all good on this? All right, roll call, please.
DePalma,
Yes.
Cordella,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Rumble,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes, motion carries unanimously. All right. Thank you very much for those explanations, and thank you for being here, Stuart. Next, we'll move on to our assessing items. The first one is waiving property transfer affidavit fee resolution. So, the clerk and I spoke to my deputy supervisor, and she gave us more of a basic rundown of what's going on. And we have been doing this, we've been waiving this fee, but according to AMAR or whatever we want to comply with, we need to have it in writing. So we're just putting what we're doing in writing. And we'll invite our assessor to come up here, and do you wanted to speak to this as well?
Excuse me. It is a requirement from the State Tax Commission that the local unit either charge the fee or have a resolution that waives the fee.
Okay. And I guess there's also, if we do charge the fee, it's not always.
Through the audit process, we would have to provide a list of all the fees that were taken in by the township and list, what they were taken in for, how much, et cetera.
Okay.
Oftentimes, taxpayers don't know that, they're required to file a property transfer affidavit, so why should we fine them for not doing something that they're only going to do once or twice probably in their life? And there's not a lot of taxing jurisdictions that I'm aware of that are assessing the fines for that
No,
either.
there's not. I do them all the time.
Right,
Most people ask why I even filed it.
exactly.
Okay, would someone like to make a motion to adopt a resolution to waive the penalties for non-filing of property transfer affidavits under MCL 211.27B?
I'll make the motion.
I'll support it.
Okay, I have a motion by Clerk Allen, and it is seconded by Trustee Rumble to adopt the resolution to waive penalties for non-filing of property transfer affidavits under MCL 211.27B. Any comments or discussion? Roll call, please.
DePalma,
Yes.
Cordella.
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Rumble,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes, motion carries unanimously. We can move on to the second item from the assessing department, which is item E, recommendation and status of assessing department.
As most of you are aware, we've met on this in small groups and discussed this particular topic. Thank you for taking your time and meeting with me to discuss the particular item of the status and the need for additional assistance in the assessing department. Based on your recommendation, I went out and found a surveyed Springfield Township. And the only change from this from when we met is on page 2. The findings from Springfield Township are listed. Springfield Township is roughly the same size as Brandon Township, approximately 6,000 real property parcels. And their assessing department employs a chief assessor, a level 1 assessor, a level 2 assessor, and they have budgeted to add a 4th position for their assessing department for this year. I don't know whether that's going to be a full or a part-time position either.
Did they mention their wages?
Yeah, their wages are listed.
Yeah. They're in the report.
Oh, that's what this part is, sorry.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions for the assessor or comments to make?
Are the assessor 1 and 2 that you have listed for Springfield, is that equivalent to the appraiser 1 and 2 that you have over on the next page?
Yes, that's just terminology that each different jurisdiction uses. A 1 typically would be a level, appraiser 1 would be a level 1, and so on.
Okay.
So, I'm gonna start it out. We don't have in our policy an appraiser job. We would have to create that job, because it does not exist to date. So that would be the first concern I have, is we want to create the position, and can we afford it? How are we going to fund it? Because we still have not come back from all of our employees being hired back from the recession back in 2010. So we're looking for adding another job when we still have shortages. That's just one of my concerns.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I understand what you're saying. The first motion is to create the position.
Right.
But then, when we have a position created, don't we have to post it and do interviews? I mean, isn't that our normal process?
To me, it would be a job that would be advertised to the public.
I'm just curious. I don't know if it is.
But if she was already, wasn't she already doing that stuff?
We made a motion, the board already approved to have her
Yeah.
work in the
Assessing department, 4 hours
Okay.
Which
per day.
is what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And that wouldn't change, would it? The hours aren't going to increase.
Are the hours going to?
Are the hours going to increase?
The need for additional assistance in the assessing department has been pointed out on prior occasions. I can tell you, I conducted a survey. Other assessing departments employ approximately 1 person for every couple thousand parcels, and you have 6,000 parcels here. So, I mean, the findings are there to substantiate additional assistance.
Okay,
But-
I'm not
but what you're
disputing that.
Okay.
Right, we're asking something,
Okay.
I'm asking something different.
No, I think what
That-
Katie's
that
saying
would-
is the job doesn't exist, but when we create a new job, aren't we supposed to post it and do interviews? I mean, or do we just move somebody laterally into a new position that was just created?
But
No,
the positions
no,
kind of
typically
are,
our policies say there's a advertisement.
That's
or
what,
whatever for new employees. But in this situation, the board already approved having Brenda work over there and replacing half a day in the building department where she came from.
But that's different from creating a new position altogether.
but she's
in my
kind of
opinion.
doing, she's doing that position, she's just not, it's just not titled that.
And
No.
or is not paid what someone in that position would be paid.
I mean, basically,
she
that's
is
what she's
doing-
doing. Yeah, that's what she's
Correct.
doing. She's doing that job, it's just not titled that job. or
I mean, and I'm not
that job.
questioning the amounts either. I'm just, I don't know. It seems a little bit like you're putting the cart before the horse to me. We don't even have the job there. I don't know. And I know she's taking class. I know she's working.
Certified.
I'm not. Yeah,
Right.
I'm not saying that at all.
Right.
But
me, it
several
just-
people in this building have gone and been certified and go to trainings, and the township pays for it, which is in our policy. But our pay scale is set for clerical work.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're going to change this, I think we have to make it for everybody, for every department. If you go to a class and you take it and you're certified, you come back and ask for a pay raise. I mean, that's really what the issue is, I think.
I don't see it so much as a pay raise because you took the classes. I look at it as it's a new job because we don't currently have that position. So,
The job is being done already. It has been for how long? 6 months?
Well, maybe you can.
A year? Okay, a year.
Maybe what we can understand better from you is what makes this job different from what's already happening?
Well, with the certification, with education that the employee has went and acquired the certification, I mean, she's going to be able to do additional responsibilities, which is going to take a little bit off my plate, which is needed for the township.
And what would some of those responsibilities be?
Going out and appraising property. There's a list of things, you know, taking additional phone calls, having now being certified. It doesn't every assessing related question doesn't have to come through me, so it would free me up to do additional things as well.
would it be easier if we broke down this motion instead of 3 steps, making individual steps? Make
Well,
the
I
first.
think it is, but, yeah,
I mean, it would seem to me, going to step progression, then, the first motion should be just to create the position of township appraiser
oh,
1
yeah,
and
'cause
2.
it's listed as one motion.
Right, yeah,
So create the position and adopt
Right.
the pay scale?
right, and then we can discuss the others, but at least we'll have the position there.
Right, that's what I'm saying, like, we don't even have the position, now we're
Right.
gonna create it and move somebody into it and not have any of our normal process.
We wouldn't be following our policy.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
And that's what we need to do.
Right, but we need to create the position no matter what we do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if that's what
So-
we want, yeah.
Did we do that when we created the positions in the park and recs? Did we put it out there for other people?
What positions do you
What did we
create?
create?
Didn't we create when we had the 2 working, or was those positions always there? We just added it back and they were part-time and stuff?
Those were just
They-
clericals that were filled in.
They were, there's a
Gotcha.
programmer and a
Okay. Okay.
administrative
I'm just trying to
assistant.
figure out, that's the only, that
So
I know
they were
that.
already there.
I mean, at the end of the day, I don't have a problem with any of this, but I think it's
I
not
understand.
being
Process.
done
Yeah.
right.
Right. Okay.
So when the bookkeeper went to a class and got certified, I could have come to the board and say, I want to give her a raise. Because she is more knowledgeable. She's doing a better job. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, and don't we have it in our policy that you can ask
No.
to move them up a step?
No,
I thought we did.
No, we
For
do
when
not.
we redid the,
no, you're,
I thought we did.
clerical, everybody, it goes by your time. You get to 3 years and you're at the top of the pay, and you don't go any higher.
That up.
That's,
As you get more seniority, you earn more vacation time.
but in the case that you're making, you're not creating a new position. It's the same position. So no matter what the educational, steps that employee took, they're still working in the same position. We're talking about a different position. I would like to look at the possibility of just doing step 1 first, adopting the position of township appraiser 1 and 2.
Well, and you can accept the pay scale too.
Yeah, you can put those both in there, right? And adopt
Okay.
the pay scale.
So would
Yeah.
it be to create the position of township appraiser 1 and 2
And
at
adopt.
the average hourly pay scale as presented?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be
it's
fine
not
with that.
average, it's not.
At the pay scale
At the pay
presented.
scale, it's not average hourly, it's just at the hourly pay
At the
scale.
pay scale presented.
Well, we're creating 2 positions essentially, and we're gonna, but only fill one of, because we're doing 1 and 2.
Right.
So we're really creating 2 positions, but we're only planning on filling one of them,
Right.
right?
So I have a question for you then. So, just so I have this straight in my mind, is number 1 the higher of the 2?
No.
No.
Number 2 is the higher of the 2?
Correct.
Okay, all right, so, just want to make sure.
No, it's fine.
So then Brenda would be coming in as appraiser 1,
A 2.
a 2,
Yes.
okay, all right.
So are you saying that we're going to automatically give this job to someone here without putting it out to anyone else?
I'm saying,
Even if they're an employee in the building.
I'm saying,
that
first off,
would
we have to create the
qualify.
position to even have the conversation.
Okay.
So are you making that motion?
I will make that motion, yes.
I'll second it.
Okay. All right, so I have a motion by trustee Marshall and a seconded by trustee Cordella to create the position of Township Appraiser 1 and 2 at the pay scale
Presented.
as presented.
Yeah.
Any discussion on the motion?
No, I don't have a problem with that at all.
Okay. We'll do a roll call, please.
Cordella,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Rumble,
Yes.
Allen,
No.
DePalma,
Yes.
Thurman,
Yes, motion carries. Okay, so now we can have the second discussion.
Right, now the second discussion. Based on our current policies for filling positions, if it's an internal position, which we now have, do you move from within the current employee pool, or do you go outside the employee pool to fill the position?
Past practice, oh, Candy brought the policy book, but
Yes,
past
I did.
practice has usually been, we go outside and offer to inside as well.
Right, it's basically open.
Has that,
Okay,
has
so it's
that
open.
been, so every single in the building department, the assessing department, the supervisor department, the clerk department, and Parks and Recs, and the treasurer department, every time there's been an opening, it hasn't just been someone inside's gotten that position and we've never advertised it? Or we've always advertised it?
Always
I-
advertise.
Always?
Always.
As far as I, yeah, I mean, we did when they
Absolutely.
hired Holly.
Yep. It's always been
The only one I
advertised.
remember from when I.
I'm just asking, I just wanna follow, and I just
Right, that's why I
thought that
brought
there
it
was
up, I
other
think.
times. If,
Well, okay, so
I mean, if you really,
So,
when we moved Kara from part-time to full-time,
We didn't create a new job, though.
no, she was just doing the same job as part-time, but we made it a full-time job.
okay.
Well, I mean, Fred just posted the sledding hill operator. He posted that and got 7 applications.
That was the second time he posted. The
Oh,
first
was it?
time he didn't give that many.
I would say he did do it more than once, but
All right.
I'm just making sure because I know that things have changed within all of the departments over the years because we've, we've had when the recession hit or when the downturn hit in 8 and then we've added people back. Have we always done that? Because I know there's new employees in the clerk's office and I know there's new employees in all the different offices and I just want to make sure that they were all hired that way.
Right, and we
That
spent the
they're all
time 3
advertised.
years ago to go through that thing
For-
line by line and change it all. I think we
Yes.
should follow it. We spent a
For
lot of money on that.
example, When our administrative assistant in the clerk's office took the position in the fire department, she also went through the advertisement.
went
We
through
It was
did the
advertised.
whole thing, yeah.
Okay.
so my next question is then on the procedure for hiring a person into the position. Is there a point system? You get like so many points for education, so many points for employment with the township?
I don't think we
That
have
kind of thing?
anything
Nothing like
in
that?
our
No.
policy.
So then who makes the decision on who gets hired?
Well, it'd be
That'd be-
him and whoever
right.
else.
Ultimately, the board.
Ultimately, the board, but he
He would
makes
do
his
the interviews
recommendation.
and probably
Okay, so
recommendation.
you review,
And a couple
he would
people
review
do
all
interviews.
the
like Kathy.
submissions,
Where is that in
and
here?
then you would give us a recommendation.
Yeah.
Where's
Sure.
that in here?
that-
Because
is that
it's
the way it
more than
goes?
just him.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just wondering, I mean.
Township official and the department head and,
I think that we should.
and sometimes there's someone
There's been
else from the
trustees on it
department.
too, because we did with Holly. I know I was part of that.
Yeah, because we were a
The
subcommittee, yeah.
Okay, so
And then it comes back to the township board for approval.
what are you thinking now, Bob?
Well, now I'm thinking, I'm looking at number 3.
There's only, the problem with this is we already moved her into
Yes.
a position.
Right, but
That's
you're,
what-
So if
my
we
point
hire
kinda was,
someone
I mean-
else,
Well, are you gonna
Then-
want a lawsuit?
then do we put her
Don't
back
do it.
in the building department full-time, and
Lay
what
off
do
the-
we do
That's,
with
that's
the
why I
other
was
person?
How
asking
did
if
the
there's
mess
a,
get created?
that's why I was asking if there's
All
a
the
point
offices
system.
share
No, there isn't.
employees that cover, that come, how is, I don't see that as being an issue.
Well, yeah,
where she's
because
going
we're gonna,
between the two departments.
Well,
It's just the same.
when we approved her to work half-time in the assessing, we moved her half-time spot out of building and filled it with another person.
Correct.
Gotcha.
So then. that
I would,
other
I would
person-
like to make another motion then, and that would be to amend 2019 budget line so we have the money available for the position to fill.
Okay.
So we've created the position, now we're adding the budget line on there, so there's money available for that position.
Right,
And then
which
we
would-
can discuss,
Which could be more than this, because
Then
if
could
you're
we-
hiring it for more than 4 hours.
well, and that's what we have to look
Right.
at
Well,
then.
then
Does
could
somebody
we-
want to do it for 4 hours?
Well, then could we discuss in the meantime until because you know how like sometimes we've had temporary people, so then you discuss that we keep Brenda there temporary until we go through the correct process of advertising
Yeah, I
it.
don't have a problem with that.
That way,
Okay,
that way
well,
she kinda
we
stays
have a
there.
motion on the floor by
To-
trustee Marshall, but I need a second
Oh,
on that.
sorry.
And that's to amend the 2019
I'll
budget
second
line
it.
item.
But you gotta take those dollar amounts out, right? Because those dollar amounts.
No, I would
might
leave
not
the
be-
dollar amounts there, because that's what we're working with, and that's what I'm saying. So we've created the position,
yeah, it's year
And
one.
now we
no
have
matter
to
what,
pay
it's gonna be
somebody
year
that-
one.
now we have that
Yeah.
amount of money that we have to
20
work
hours
with.
a week, basically.
Right.
Those dollar amounts are based on an appraiser
Year
too.
one, right.
Okay.
So
At
if
4
you
hours a day?
Yes, and if you approve that, you're approving up to the
Right,
pay
exactly,
scale of
right.
an appraiser too.
Okay. For
Okay.
4 hours a day.
Year one, 4 hours a day, yes.
Okay, I have a motion by trustee Marshall, and it is seconded by trustee Cordella to amend the 2019 budget line item 101-209-706-209 from $20,863 to $24,024. Correct?
Correct.
Any discussion on that?
No?
Okay, roll call, please.
Marshall,
Yes.
Rumble,
Yes.
Allen,
No.
DePalma,
Yes.
Cordella,
Yes.
Thurman,
Yes. Motion carries.
So now we have the position and the money. So then the hiring process is something else we can discuss, either now or
Well,
some
I
other
mean,
point.
I think we just have to follow what's in the book. And I'm not saying I don't want Brenda to be the person.
Right, yeah, no, right. I was just trying to break it down into baby
Yeah.
steps.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, I think we have to follow our policy at the end of the
Sure.
day.
Okay, so the motion would be what?
Well, I don't think we need a
I
motion.
don't think there- yeah, I don't think
we
there is
need
one at this
one
point.
either. We'll just follow our policy.
Yeah.
Okay, so we don't need a motion that we're gonna follow policy. Okay,
We'll just,
we're just gonna do it.
We'll just take no action on it, right?
but the only thing we need to discuss is,
We can discuss it, yeah.
well, I suppose we could discuss it when we bring it here, or bring it back, because if we do recommend someone else fill that position, then we've got,
Well, can't we just
We've
make a
got a
motion to
difficult-
advertise it and post it?
well, that's what we're gonna do, because that's what the policy says.
Well, do we have to make a motion to have Brenda in that position until, go through the hiring process?
But Brenda's already in the
Well,
position.
Yeah, we already approved
She's in a
that.
position, but we didn't call
Right,
it
we don't
that,
have to with that.
but we didn't call it that position.
Oh, that's true.
That's where I'm trying to figure out.
And then are we going to,
I don't think we need to do anything with where
I
she's at right now.
have someone
do
in the
you?
back who would like to, why don't you
Okay.
come on up to the microphone? Wants to add his,
Okay. At the risk of cutting my own throat, when we hire full-time firemen, we promote from our paid call. Why do we do that?
Because they're experienced.
Because they have gone after the training and they have received a state license. They received their paramedic license, they have received their state fire 1 and 2 license, they have received, these are licenses. There's a difference between a license and a class. And I think we need to keep focus on that. You have an individual that has been put in a position to do that job with a understanding that you're gonna go get your state license. She has achieved that state license. and furthermore, could probably go somewhere else, and you have a good employee, why do you want to let that employee go? It's no different. It really is no different. I don't care what the I understand there's a policy, and I'm not saying I don't care what the policy says, but I think you have to take into consideration that at the time, you moved an individual to do that job. And you have set a precedence at that point that that individual is doing that job and then has gone and obtained a state license. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong at all.
Okay.
And a wise man once said, we're not in the business of making widgets.
We don't sell things, right?
But was the expectation of going to class to create a new job and get higher money, or was it just to further her knowledge in the department?
It was,
Yeah.
I believe,
I'm gonna let you do that one.
I don't like speaking for an individual that's in the room, so can we invite Brenda up
Well, yeah,
here?
I
And
mean,
I'm
When
not
we-
gonna,
Well, here's my question. When we moved her over to work in the assessing department for 4 hours a day, was it just to help out for the time being, or was it to create this position? Because that's what we should have done then to start with, was we should have created this position. And that's why I want to do something so she can be there. And I'm fine with either way. I understand people want to follow the policy. I'm fine with, we've already put her there and kind of made that decision. So
Well,
I'm
and
just
this-
trying to figure out, what was, when
Well,
we did this, wasn't it just supposed to be temporary to get you through?
4 years is what you said.
initially, it was to assist, yes.
Okay.
And 4 years was an estimate that was, but at that time, it's an estimate. Since that time, I've went out and surveyed what assessing departments have for the parcel count, and I've proved that the assessing department in Brandon Township is understaffed and has been understaffed. Brenda had a desire to come over and assist, and I don't know what transpired since then, but apparently she went out and got certified to be an assessor, so she may like what she's doing.
I don't think anybody's really disputing any of that. It's-
Well, I
Right.
just want to say for the record that the past assessors had a full-time deputy supervisor helping and a part-time person helping. So, which is still true today.
used to have a full-time person.
I said,
So
the
right now we
deputy was a
have
full-time
3
person
part-time
helping.
employees, correct?
We had another full-time.
I'm sorry?
We have
Who was
3
that?
part-time employees right now? Brenda,
She was a
Karen, and
deputy
Pam?
supervisor.
Yes.
So we had a full-time and a part-time helping the assessor. Now, which we still have, and now we've added another part-time. So you actually, in reality, have 2 full-time people out of 3.
I don't think you can
3.
equate a half
No, it's a-
part-time
They're not
person to a
full-time.
full-time.
It's a,
You
Yeah,
can't
but
say
a
that, you can't say
4-hour
that Pam is full-time.
it's-
Pam is
it's-
full-time, but
no.
she's not working for the building department full-time,
She's all, yeah, she
or
is.
for the assessing department.
Kathy, would you like to explain it?
I thought Pam worked for Kathy most of the time,
she
doing,
does
No.
assessing
how much does she do assessing?
more than she works for the supervisor.
Yeah.
I-
So
I-
we
I agree.
added, we
A large
added
part
staff.
of her job.
I agree with the chief that I think it behooves us, as in just looking at it as an employer, to promote from within.
Exactly.
That the
That's the
people
whole point that we've been
that have been,
missing.
been here,
I
people
agree.
that have been putting their time in, and then choose to improve themselves, if there's an opening available, they should get it. And that's why I was sort of dancing around with, is there a policy, like, number of points that's achieved because it's a current employee, number of points that's achieved from the hiring process because they have the training. I agree with the chief. I think it always is going to be best to promote from within.
Well, I don't
But we have-
disagree with you either, but our
But we have,
policy
I know,
doesn't
we
say-
have a policy, unfortunately, that says
Well-
that we don't necessarily
Right.
promote from within.
And this is absolutely nothing personal against anyone at all. But there is another person in this building, an employee, who could qualify for that position. So I'm just making sure we cover our bases.
And just to go back to your point on the amount of staff we have in our department, the way the department ran, we thought we were covering all our bases and getting everything done, but we weren't. We were falling short, and the need is there for,
But is that
You've
need
done
gonna be there once
50%.
you get caught up, though?
I'm sorry?
You have
Well-
gone through 50% of the township,
Approximately, yes.
close to 50%.
Yes.
48% then.
Yes,
In 2 years.
correct.
So that's why you came up with the 4-year plan when we first talked about.
Well, I can't begin to sit up here and explain all the different changes that the State Tax Commission is going to look at. So that was my best possible estimate of 4 years.
Yeah.
And it might not take 4 years if I had additional staff.
So what would happen to the position then? Let's say you get through the township, it's 100%. What happens then to that position?
Right, do you still need
There's
it
a need,
increase in
there's a
wages?
need for that position
past your 4 years?
2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. And there's gonna be a need for that position for the remainder of time.
Okay.
State Tax Commission does a AMAR review, and they do changes to that review on a 5-year cycle. The next 5 years, if Brandon Township was performing where it should have been, it shouldn't have AMAR issues, but it has AMAR issues from its prior audit. I don't intend to have AMAR issues. I'm trying to go out and staff the department as I see it from, this point forward. So I can only estimate what I have in front of me. There was a 4-year estimate given with more employees it won't take that long, but there is a need on a daily basis for additional assistance. And from now until the foreseeable future.
But once you're caught up and you have that position, would you still need the other 2 part-time, or would those 2 go back to their departments?
Well, they're in the same department, and the need for the position would stay. You might just, what may end up happening is there might not be a need for Pam to do some additional
Right, that's what I
assistance,
meant.
with assessing. Yes, so absolutely.
So then what would Pam do? Is there a need for her to still help? I mean, do you need still more work help?
well, it'd be great to have someone else.
It's always great to have more help.
I'm just trying to
Yeah.
We
figure out, we created this
we
position.
rely on Pam for a lot of things.
We,
Right, and Pam doesn't spend all day doing assessing work. Pam
Right.
Pam does a lot of work, and she assists with a lot of other.
Yeah, she also helps in the building department.
Right.
and Covers that.
like I said, we did this, and now it's creating into something more, so we just have to figure out if that's,
I think the question is, we're to the point where we have to make a decision. Do we want to go through the advertising part and the process that's laid out in our policy, or do we want to forego that?
well, we already put her in the position, we just didn't have a
I'm
name
going
for
by
it and a pay
policy.
scale to it.
The lawyer in me wants to follow the policy.
Yeah.
Well, we have a policy to have a policy and to follow the policy. If you don't, my recommendation on it would be that we follow the policy, and in the hiring process, we have a trustee in the decision-making, Bill in the decision-making, and then Kathy in the decision-making.
Well,
That's not what our policy
we're not a
says.
decision-making. We have to bring it to the board.
But you make a recommendation. No, that's what I meant. That's what I meant.
You
That's
meant
what I
in
meant.
the
Follow the
interviewing
policy.
process.
Right, and you
Gotcha.
make, and those 3 will make the recommendation of the candidates brought before the board.
So which trustee would like to sit on that committee?
I'll be more than you to.
I'm in.
And the reason, and one of the reasons, and I was involved in the hiring process of officers. I used to sit on oral boards. That's what I did. So I have experience in discussing work-related hiring issues with possible candidates.
I just don't want it to be a dog and pony show where we already know the outcome. You know what I mean? We're just spinning our wheels.
And it might end
I
up
can't
being-
promise
I
anything.
don't have a problem with it ending that
I
way,
know,
but I
but
just.
we
you
have a
don't know.
policy.
But then if people know that, then who else is gonna even apply, and then we wasted a bunch of time.
But, the same thing, I mean, I've been involved in our hiring processes and interviews for years. And to me, it's, if you wanna keep a quality employee and take a chance on losing that quality employee to somebody else, it seems to me it'd be a lot easier to change that policy, which is a guideline in most cases, than to lose a quality employee.
Well, I think it needs to say that you look within first, and if nobody within, then it goes out to the public, is what it should say, but that's not what it says.
Well, and I'd be fine with that, except for the optics of changing the policy immediately prior to doing
Correct.
this.
And,
Well, that's why we
when
shouldn't
we
do it right now. We can bring
advertise-
that next.
The last time we advertised too, we put in the advertisement itself that we will promote within if,
That was part of the policy, and we did do that.
yeah,
It wasn't part of the
for
policy, it
the
was
senior
part of it.
center, how did we advertise for that?
The right way, the legal way,
No, I
like
mean,
we always have.
Yeah,
that
but
we're
we
equal
put-
opportunity employer and that we can hire within.
yes, there
Okay,
was-
well, then if you do that, that to me satisfies
Yeah, yeah.
the policy, and then we move forward.
Okay.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean,
did
we might not get another applicant.
did we
and it might
take
just
outside
be-
applicants for
No.
Faye's position? We did.
Absolutely.
And it was
Yeah, we
stated in the advertising, we would hire from within.
We may hire.
We may
within.
hire. Oh, okay, well,
Absolutely.
I'm okay
And
with
that's how
that.
most people do.
I'm okay with that then.
Right, because
schools
then
and-
then you did what the policy says, we advertised it,
Right.
and it says we have the right to hire within, and if that's what we do, that's what we do.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay, so
So-
motion reads what, Bob?
Motion to post the position as we
Yeah.
normally do.
Right.
Okay,
Do
make
we
a-
need to motion that Brenda will be in that position until,
I don't think so, I
Like-
think we
Well,
just
I
leave it
think if we're
status
gonna
quo.
go to the mo.
She wasn't in that
trouble-
position because we just created
We
it
just
tonight.
created it, yeah.
well, but she was in something.
doing
so
that
what was
job,
she?
but-
Okay, that's fine. As long as she
Remain.
continues to do that job.
Well, I think if we
Until
did a
we do.
motion to keep
The status
Brenda
quo.
in the, or is it a motion to put her in the new position?
No, as long as whatever we've done here hasn't taken away what she's been doing, that's my concern. So we've made this position, does it take away what she's been doing, or what she's been doing is still okay for her to continue doing until we go through the next
Well,
step?
Right now,
We had-
she's helping in the appraising.
Yeah, we had put Brenda in that position already, so that hasn't changed
Hired.
anything.
Okay,
It's just a matter of
Right.
Okay.
hiring somebody for that position now that we just created.
okay. I just want to make sure.
So we need a job description.
You can
Okay.
provide that?
I'm
Yeah,
sure that's pretty
absolutely.
readily available.
Yeah,
Well, probably at the time that comes back to the board.
absolutely.
Actually, for interviews. Interviews.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and do what the policy states and
As far as
follow.
posting, right?
follow-
Motion to post
follow-
it as we normally do. Do you want a motion or no?
We can, go
I
ahead,
don't-
then that way it's clear.
Yeah, I'll just make the motion to post the position that we just created as our normal fashion.
Support?
Then I feel good that we followed the policy.
There you go.
Well, why don't I say that? Why don't we just say, post the position as per policy?
Okay,
That's what you
No, I
just
mean-
said.
that's fine.
Use that wording.
Whatever Kathy writes down, she'll tell us. And that
Well,
will
I
be my
started
motion.
writing down, and then I changed. Who seconded that? Oh. you
I did,
seconded it.
yes.
Marshall.
Bob did.
All right, I have a motion by trustee Rumble and a seconded by trustee Marshall to post the position as per policy.
Works for me.
Okay. Any more discussion? Okay. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Okay, motion carries unanimously. And we're all good with trustee Marshall serving on the planning
Sure.
commission? Okay.
Sure, if he wants to. I won't fight.
Yep.
Sounds good. We can work on that. All right, thank you, Mr. Thompson.
You and the chief and
we can move on to the new hire for the Edna Burton Senior Center.
I make a motion to hire Faye Bendig as the permanent full-time senior center coordinator, starting February 5th, 2014, according to our approved policy.
2019, and I'll second it.
Sorry. 2014, thank you.
Okay, any discussion from the board members on this?
Is this, because I thought, so you did interviews and all that?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, I thought last time we talked it was gonna be a while till you hired somebody and you just, because we just had put in,
She was the interim, but we had 6 people apply for the job, and we interviewed them all.
okay, it all happened that fast, wow.
6 were interviewed once, 3 were interviewed twice.
Okay, because I know just last month we had just put in the interim, so I'm like, wow, we're already at the permanent.
That
Okay.
was a month ago.
I know, time just goes.
Well, we did the interim because they wanted time to work on the job description.
And we checked other
So-
communities, what their pay was for a senior coordinator. So
Okay.
I'm asking that she be paid what the policy states, which is $43,000. It equals $21.02 an hour.
No,
Yeah.
because we just changed our policy.
Oh.
Last meeting, they changed it to the 85, 90,
Yeah,
100,
right,
or whatever,
right.
or
So
90,
we would have-
Okay.
we would have
90,
to
9500, I
hire
think it was.
according to that.
All right.
Whatever it was, our new policy.
It was,
To the approved policy, just like in the
Yes.
motion.
yes.
Okay.
Now, is that in every department, that approved policy?
No, that was only for the senior center and the rec director. It was only those 2 positions, right? That policy was
85%.
for.
Oh,
Because of salary.
yeah.
Is it-
Because it's
Because
salary.
of salary.
Gotcha.
The salary
Yeah.
people.
Okay, just
Yep.
needed a refresher. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because we already have a step program for hourly.
Yep.
Okay, I have a motion by Clerk Allen, and it is seconded by Trustee Rumble to hire Faye Bendig as the permanent full-time senior center coordinator starting February 5th, 2019, according to our approved policy. Any discussion? No. Roll call, please.
Allen,
Yes.
DePalma,
Yes.
Cordella,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Rumble,
Yes.
Thurman,
Yes, motion carries unanimously. Next, we have approval for grant application.
No,
No,
next is
fire.
fire.
Fire department.
Oh, I
Next is
marked
chief.
off too many, okay. Sorry about that, chief. Just trying to get through this meeting.
They wouldn't have got very far, trust me.
Okay, so we want to purchase a Lucas 3 chest compression system, and this is something that is being recommended by the fire authority.
And has been approved by the village council, and we're at our last stop.
Okay.
It's just like the other devices that we have. We have 2 other ones that we use, one at Station 1, one at Station 2. This is to be placed out to Station 3 for that ambulance that sits out there.
And do you have enough in the line
Yes.
with the other stuff you
So,
wanted to do
so we
this
now
year?
have 3 ambulances?
We have 5.
5, oh, okay.
But we're not going to buy 5 of these due to the cost.
All right.
But what that does is that allows that first responding unit, what station it may be,
Right.
to have that device with them so that they can free their hands up to do other things. And it's a chest compression device,
Is
for
there gonna
those
be a
that
lot-
don't know what that is.
Is there gonna be a lot more equipment needed for Fire Station 3 now that we just opened it? I'm just curious of planning. for
You know,
future.
there's going to be other equipment down the road, but it'll all be within budgetary constraints.
Okay. So I'll make the motion to approve the purchase of 1 Lucas 3 chest compression systems from Physio Control in the amount not to exceed 15,000 from line item 210.344.977.000.
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion or questions for the fire chief? I have a motion by trustee DePalma, and it is seconded by trustee Rumble, as read by trustee DePalma. And no further discussion, so roll call, please.
DePalma,
Yes.
Cordella,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Rumble,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Thurman,
Yes, motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Now we can do the Parks and Recreation grant application. So, this was also taken to the Parks and Rec Subcommittee, and it's recommended for approval, but there is one change on the motion that's being presented. And that would be at the very end, the recreation passport and grant submission for $26,000 with a 25% match of $6,500 instead of the $8,800.
What was that amount again?
6,500.
65 instead of 88.
Correct.
Oh, that's a good deal.
Was that? Yeah, less money.
I don't
Should've
think
been
I-
like-
Something for
it was
less.
the one
I
that
should
we
act
had
like a
approved
carpenter. I
that
should have
on the
added
road.
twice.
Yeah,
Hey,
Cut once.
Hey,
that was on the new one. we discussed. These ones were already there and didn't get granted, remember?
Wait,
Right.
okay. Let's let
Okay.
everybody hear what you two are talking about. so
I
we
was
don't
trying to
have-
find out, this was the one that we tried to do and we didn't get granted for in
Yeah,
the
this is
past,
what we
right?
didn't
So
get
the
last
funds were
year.
already,
The Land Water Conservation Fund is going to be submitted identically to what we did in 2018. I did have a sit-down discussion with the DNR while I was away in Kalamazoo, and she gave me 10 minutes of her time, which was nice of her, and told me I had taken my prints and everything, all the last year's documents, and she told me where to make some corrections, and we're still sticking with the same amount.
right, so this is just one we've done in the past, so the funds were already there. I was just talking about the funds, because I know
Yeah.
for, when
Oh.
you want to do the new ones is when I asked to see the fund breakdown,
Right.
is what I was
What was
trying to
left.
make out, right?
Right.
Okay. I was just getting clarification from our meeting.
So it's the same, that resolution for the Land Water Conservation Fund is the same as it was last year, so we
Right.
didn't spend any of that money, so it's still there.
The
Right.
recreation passport grant,
Is different, that resolution is additional money, which is,
that's the new one.
No, I thought it was the Ralph Wilson one that was the new one.
well, we
We
haven't,
haven't even gotten to that point yet.
This one says
the
recreation
passport grant will be additional money spent out of the cell tower if we receive the grant.
Right.
Which is
We just
6,000.
got the additional 90,000 in or whatever you said, right?
Every year,
Right.
we get additional
Yep.
funds.
So we're approving two right now.
Right, so both of them are both on this motion.
Right, didn't I ask though to see a fund breakdown of,
It's supposed to be in your packet. Sue told me she was giving it. The cell tower money? The designated funds? Yeah.
It's on our
it's
designated
in there,
report.
but that doesn't show me what's already been accounted for.
Oh, that's in my report. I added that all up.
So what are you asking, Dana? How much money's in the cell tower?
Yes, because I couldn't find out
General
that.
fund tower park development, we have $3,999,308.
And then at the bottom here, it says, we have promised for 2016 LWCF grant, 150,000.
Right, I
And
was
then
expecting
for
it all to be together.
2017 And for 2017 is 70,000. So that's 22.
So 270.
69, 270.
And then you got the Enbridge,
And there's
Enbridge money of
There's
25,000.
399 in there,
399
right?
minus 270 brings us to our
So he
129.
added it up here.
Yeah.
Right, he's got the 270, but I didn't see the 399 anywhere. I wasn't sure if that 399
was-
was correct. Right, I was expecting it to all be together for me, and then I,
The 399 is correct, but we get the cell tower funds, they come in April.
Right.
or-
50%
or the 1st of
match.
May.
How much is that again? If- Roughly?
What was it last? Oh, wait.
1,600.
It's on our
I
budget.
felt like it was like 90,000, but,
It's more than that.
It's more, it's like
like-
125,000.
all right. So it's enough to cover everything and then some.
Well, this gives you, if we gotta do the 120 plus the 10.6 plus the 6,500 is 137.5, and there's only 129.
Yeah, but none of those will be approved before April.
Right, and then when does the money come in? They said April?
April.
Okay.
mean, we still haven't paid out the previous ones we
Yeah.
approved because.
Here
so-
here it is on the front page, it was 118,000.
118, okay.
840. 118, 840.
All right, then I'm comfortable. I'll make as amended.
Would someone like to second?
I'll second.
About 100, okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Sorry, I just needed to work through that. It wasn't laid out. So you made the
All
motion
right,
for both of them?
I have a motion by
it's only one
trustee
motion.
Rumble, and it is seconded by trustee Cordella to approve the 2019 LWCF DNR grant submission for the amount of $120,400 with a 50% match of $120,400 plus a 2% additional $10,600, and approve the recreation passport grant submission for $26,000 with a 25% match of $6,500 as presented, and continue the 2019 grant submission process. Everyone's good with that? Okay, if there's no further discussion, roll call, please.
DePalma,
Yes.
Cordella.
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Rumble,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes. Motion carries unanimously.
Let's say one thing, while we got it on public TV. So fast forward to March is meeting, we want to have the public hearing. So like to say to all the residents out there to support parks and come to that public hearing for the restrooms and concession stand, and also for the passive side of the park where we can have a gazebo and start bringing more and new programs to the rec department and to the township park as well. So
This is gonna be when?
The March meeting.
the March meeting.
Our next board
Oh,
meeting.
our next board meeting?
Yeah, we have to have a public
And
hearing.
are we gonna have, you're asking for residents to be here because is there gonna be somebody from the state here that we want to impress or what?
No, the minutes
To
will go
support the
into
grants
the,
reflected in the minutes.
yeah,
Okay, so
reflect
they're-
in the
So we
minutes.
want the people to agree and like, you know, they're really behind
That
this.
the community's supporting it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, one
Thought we were gonna
one
try and
good
get
thing
some,
they told me I could do, that we can use all the support letters that we received in 2018, long as they're 18s and not 17s, that we can use the same support letters, which we have some really good ones.
Good.
So,
That's good.
That helps.
That's right.
Okay,
That's what I
all
was
right,
asking.
thank you, Fred. So, we will move on now to the Oakland County SISMA Memorandum of Understanding and Funding Request. So, the Oakland County SISMA has changed a little bit in that we have a new SISMA coordinator. So that's been very good. We had our original MOU had been revised in 2017, and now we're revising it again. And what did I say? The major revision was what? So the major revision in this MOU is to allow the steering committee, which is made up of one representative from each of the membership, to review and update the bylaws as needed, so that we don't, every time we make a change to the bylaws, we don't have to go back to all of our members' boards to get that approved. So, and then also they're looking for a contribution of $250. We do have a line in our budget that's for Phragmite and weed control. That's where the money would come from for that. Also in that line, last year I applied for a 2-year township-wide permit through the state so that any of our residents could treat the invasive species in their wetlands. So that's good for this year. And what the SISMA wants to do is they eventually want to get a countywide permit through the state. So, but that didn't happen last year, so they're working on that.
So I have a question for you. Is the $250 from the $1,500, is that going to leave us short somewhere down the line, that if we have $1,500 currently budgeted, we're taking $250 out of it, is that gonna leave us a shortfall?
I don't think so. At last year, let's see, we spent $2,100. We got reimbursed from the county for $1,050 to cover some of the
Okay.
fragmite control that was done in the road right of way last year.
So we'd be in the ballpark then.
Yeah, and what they're really trying to promote is to have residents treat private property, and the residents would pay for that. They're also trying to develop like a strike team of somebody that the SISMA is hiring that will go out and help the residents to treat their invasive plants. So if that occurs, that brings down the cost
Okay.
for the residents.
So what line item would we pay for it out of?
This one. The one for the fragmite weed control.
Okay. I wanted to look up.
And there's $1,500 in there.
What's the ballpark percentage of residents actually participating in this? Because I know it's been going on for years and it's still everywhere.
Yeah, I know.
We spent a lot of money on it.
Well,
I mean,
the original grant in 2015 covered treatment on private and public property. What happened in 18, the grant is more to pay for the coordinator and to do more educational and outreach
okay.
activities.
So how's that
So,
going? In
so
our
they
township?
don't have a grant right now that's actually putting money to the residents or to
Right.
the communities. But the road commission has been,
In the right of ways only though, right?
yeah, but in the right of way only.
So I found it, Kathy, and there's $373.50 left in the budget for the year.
For
to spend.
2018,
Oh,
but for the 2019, there's 1,500.
okay, good.
So we don't have any idea on resident participation at this point?
Right, because they're gonna have to,
And how many years in are we? This is our 5th year?
Fourth.
Fourth?
This will be our fourth because it was 15, 16, 17. Oh, no, 18. Yeah, this would be our fifth.
Okay.
If it was complete, I don't know when we started in 15 though, was it at the
Right.
beginning of the year?
yeah, the 15 grant, let's see, I don't think we actually did treatment till 16.
Right. Now, so if we do this 250 out of the 1,500, you got 1,250 left. Is that enough to do whatever you need to, what we've spent on in the past?
Well, last year I spent $1,050.
Okay, right. Okay.
Not according to the budget.
Well, I spent $1,050 on treatment,
Right.
and then, I think we also did a public, we did,
Didn't you send letters to the
we
residents or
did a
something?
seminar at the library.
Yes, I remember that.
1126.50 last year's
Yeah.
what you spent.
Yeah, it was a little bit more than 1,000
Okay.
because of that. And I don't have anything planned for any seminars. And it wasn't on Phragmites last year, it was for Oriental bittersweet, so it was a different species. So
And I
if
heard
I,
Yeah,
that it went.
if I have residents that come to me with problems, different invasives, we'll try to get some education out to them.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2018 Oakland County Cooperative Invasive Species Management Area Memorandum of Understanding as presented. Authorize the supervisor to sign the document and serve on the steering committee as outlined in the MOU, and approve the OC SISMA request for $250.
Second.
Okay, any other questions or discussion?
Notice.
What's so funny?
We're just having a good time down here.
Okay. good. At least somebody's enjoying this meeting.
Me and Mom are having a
All
blast.
right, I have a motion by Clerk Allen and a second by Trustee Cordella to approve the 2018 Oakland County Cooperative Invasive Species Management Area Memorandum of Understanding as presented. Authorize the supervisor to sign the document and serve on the steering committee as outlined in the MOU, and to approve the Oakland County SISMA request for $250. Okay, roll call, please.
Cordella,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Rumble,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
DePalma,
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes, motion carries unanimously. And next is the janitorial employee. So, in order to get our buildings cleaned, we have set up in our wage scale and our policy for an employee to work as our janitor. But oftentimes when we advertise for this position, we get people who want to do it as a contracted employee. They have a cleaning business. And then even when we don't advertise, sometimes we get approached by cleaning businesses that are offering to do the work. So we're at a point where we were looking for a janitor to replace Carrie. We hired someone, and then this person that I'm recommending actually, when we were going through what the policy says, the procedure to hire someone, this person actually applied, but then in the conversation, it didn't look like it was gonna work out as far as what we paid for that, for the buildings to get cleaned. So we hired someone full-time. I've gotten complaints from both buildings, so we're kind of looking for a replacement. And this company came back and we can make it work. So I'm looking for the board, since it's set up as an employee, I'm looking for the board to approve us contracting for the work and to waive the bidding requirements as outlined in our policy.
Go ahead, Jason.
The exact opposite of what we just said we couldn't.
Well, wait a minute, but it says in the policy that we can waive them. It does.
Then why
did
didn't we
you say
waive it
that
for?
earlier?
Then why
No,
didn't you waive
for
it?
this. For contracted employees, it says we can waive it.
But it was an employee position, and now you want to change it to a contracted position and waive the bid process.
Actually, it was advertised.
Yeah, this was
This job was
according to the
advertised.
How long ago? Excuse me.
Too long ago.
Huh?
Too long ago.
Okay, so see, so there could be somebody new
Quite
then.
a while.
Okay.
Here's my concern.
Well,
My
this
concern.
person applied when it was advertised.
But you're going to be letting somebody go to do this, right?
Correct.
Better follow policy.
I talked to someone tonight, and he said that the agreement with Kathy was, when he hired on, he would give a 2-week notice if he quit, and we would give a 2-week notice if we needed him to quit.
So basically, an at-will
But you,
position.
Which every position is at will.
Everybody is in Michigan.
everybody is at will.
And he understands what we're doing tonight, and he understands, so he's,
Here's my first question is exactly what Dana said, what's gonna happen to the current janitor, but okay, we've addressed that. Why is it only possibly the police substation if necessary, instead of that automatically being
they have
included?
someone else.
A
Are we paying-
third
Are we
person.
paying for that, or is the sheriff's department paying for
It's
that?
coming out of the sheriff's department budget.
Oh, okay, all right,
But we hire the employee.
okay, but they're paying for it,
Their budget's paid for it, yes.
Yes.
okay,
And they're very happy.
all right.
Greg is
We are
very
paying
happy.
for it.
Well, if they're happy, I'm happy.
Well, I guess here's my difficulty. I get employees, I mean, people that want to hire in as employees, and then I get people that want to hire in as contractors for this position. So I don't know if I need to, maybe I need to amend the policy to allow both contracted and regular employees to do janitorial services for the township.
Yes, we could have either or, and you have all of them apply or put in a bid, and you figure out who you want. Do you want to go with one of the companies that put in a bid, or do you want to go with the person who applied? Because it still isn't an interviewing process, because with the bid process, can't you interview too? Or, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you would handle both. All I know is that I can understand, because I know a lot of cleaning companies are contracted because they clean here and they clean there and they clean there. They could clean 50 places in a night, depending on how many employees they have. So I understand that side of it. We just went through trying to follow policy with the other one. I just think we have to follow policy here.
Right, but the policy that we're not following, it's the contracted part of it. Because we already did the interviewing.
That was a long time ago.
Both this contracted employee, but we've gone back to to other times where we interviewed people and taken other people that have applied aside from the first one we picked.
So the last time you advertised for the position, janitorial position, that was as an employee. Did you find anybody satisfactory out of those candidates for that janitorial position? Why are you guys looking at each other?
No.
No.
I said
Kathy hired.
we hired from what we got.
Right, okay.
And I received
That's-
complaints
and that's
from
been
both
unsatisfactory.
buildings. Yes.
So we've fulfilled our obligation to go through the process of advertising and hiring somebody as an individual. I have no problem going to the contract then.
So, but our policy here does say 4.1, we can opt out of that process. I mean, we are following the policy with this, but
For contracted
Contracted
employees, yes.
There you go.
Do they provide the cleaning equipment and the supplies, or are we gonna still have to pay for the supplies?
That's what it said they,
Says right in there.
They bring
Use their own
equipment,
equipment.
but we have to do the cleaning products.
And so have we looked at the cost, not just, so you said that their cost is a little bit more, plus then, but we've
Well,
always paid for the supplies, so that doesn't matter, that cost is kind of
Right.
stable, okay.
so it's 52 weeks, right? Multiply it out, so it's about almost 13,000 for the year for these two. 7,800 for the senior center and 49.40 for the township office.
Yeah.
At 52 weeks.
I wouldn't do it for that price.
Yeah, and it's within budget, so I'll tell you what we have budgeted.
I definitely wouldn't do that.
No.
Right.
Seniors, this is the old budget.
I don't
I
have a
think
19 either.
What did you come up with the senior center? I think 68 rings a bell.
78.
78.
Yeah, because it's 150 times 52, unless they're taking 2 weeks off.
Which very well could be
think
between
it-
holidays
It could have
and
been 78, let's see.
Because if you, 150.
we're closed for 13 holidays.
Yeah, but they'll still be there for that.
Oh,
52 weeks at 150
yeah,
is
the
7,800.
budget in 2018 was 8,400.
Okay, so this is
So-
12,740.
No, just for the senior center.
Oh, okay. Then you're good. You're gonna get $600 left.
Well, and then the township offices are out of a different line.
So that'd be 95 times 52.
Property maintenance, here we go. Last year. Right, 5,000.
Okay, so you got $60 left there.
What's the line item? 101 what?
265, 710.
Okay, for the janitorial for the senior center is $5,000. This is
5,000.
proposed for 2019.
Well, then that's $3,000 short.
Mm, 265, 5,000.
Okay, 5,000, so add that and plus 266,710, which is the next one down.
266, 710.
Janitorial. 8,800?
8,800. So that's what, 13?
So you got 8,800 for the township and only 5,000
No,
for the
it's
senior center?
8,800 for the senior center
Oh.
and then 5,000 for the township.
Okay, so you
We did it
you got
backwards.
$1,000 extra at the senior center and $60 extra at the township.
Okay, so we got it covered, right?
Yes.
All right. Motion?
I mean, we're following policy, so I'll make the motion as presented.
I'll second it.
Okay. I have a motion by trustee Rumble and a second by trustee Cordella to allow the supervisor to hire Clarkston's Finest Cleaning LLC for janitorial services at the senior center and the township offices according to the presented bids and waive the bidding requirements as outlined in 4.11 in the township's operations manual. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Marshall,
Yes.
Rumble,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
DePalma,
Yes.
Cordella,
Yes.
Thurman,
Yes. Motion carries unanimously. And now we can go to the CDBG.
I'll make a motion unless Candy, you want to talk about it at all?
Nope.
Okay, I'll make a motion to award the prior year 2018 CDBG Public Service Emergency Services Funds to OSEF, the Ortonville Community Emergency Fund, of $6,332 to provide one-time or short-term, no more than 3 months per household per year, emergency payments for food and/or personal care vouchers for income-qualified households.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Rumble,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
DePalma,
Yes.
Cordella,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Thurman,
Yes. Motion carries unanimously. That concludes our business. At this time, we'll take citizens' comments.
The race to the top.
Scott Broughton, Granger Road. With the discussion for this position, I've worked with, I'm just going to say her name, I've worked with Brenda a lot on different items throughout my 2 years on the township board. And I got to tell you, there's certain exceptional employees that you want to worry about doing anything you can to keep them. Secondly, I don't really like hearing that we're going to go and just post this when you know it's probably 99.5% sure that you're going to hire this person. It's a waste of taxpayer dollars to put it in the newspaper, and it's a waste of people's time who actually apply for that position, whether they put together a cover letter, their resume, and send it in, all just for going through the motions. So those are my points.
Okay, thank you.
Rick Evans again, Brandon Township. Scott, or Chris, the building at Country Oaks right now, is that gonna be leveled? Or is that gonna remain there, or?
No, I'm pretty sure that's gonna be leveled.
Okay.
Yeah, that building that's there.
And about my question earlier, it was in the newspaper back when they first put that four-way stop up there at Oak Hill and Sashabaw, they had two plans, red light or a roundabout.
Right, I remember that. so what's the problem? Why can't they tell us one of the two? The roundabout keeps traffic moving and the stoplight's gonna keep the same problem we got.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to make a comment?
Pete Dyer from Brandon Township in Ortonville Village. Do you guys have any plans to fix a parking lot on the west end of the senior center?
I know it's bad.
Because if somebody's going to get hurt,
Where the buses park?
yeah, where the buses park. Because it's just going to continue to get worse and worse as the winter's coming. They plow and they're just going to tear up more asphalt.
Thank you very much. Can that be paid by city? I think.
No, it cannot.
No, that's only for the building.
And you were gonna get a bid when they came and did this one. That was the plan.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that has a comment tonight? No, okay. All right, so we can adjourn our meetings. Oh, we have board
Wait.
comments, board comments.
Yeah.
We'll start down at
Man.
Say in the first.
Come on.
I don't really have anything other than looking forward to going to the daddy-daughter dance here in a couple weeks with the kids, so glad to see you there.
I don't have anything either.
Okay, I don't have anything to add tonight.
My turn?
Yes, your turn.
I hope everybody has a good month. We'll see you next month.
I have a warning for everybody. February 14th, Valentine's Day. Don't forget to get your special somebody something special, or you're gonna be in big trouble.
The Hallmark advertisement.
Okay, thank you.
I don't have a warning for anybody. I don't believe in Valentine's Day, neither do my ex-wife and my second ex-wife and all of my girlfriends. And, so, no warnings.
Okay, thank you. That completes the board comments. At this time, we can adjourn. Who would like to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
I'll second it.
I have a motion by trustee Marshall and a second.
But it was true.
Seconded by trustee Rumble. All in favor, say aye.
Hey.
Those opposed, say nay. Meeting's adjourned.
Yeah, I did see it.